let's jump in here to the clothing brand and how you created that, because that's something that fascinates me, right? Because those kinds of brands, I think it's so cool that social media has given so many people a platform to grow a brand on, right? The problem is it gets oversaturated. So how have you guys made a dent in the market with kind of a saturated market? Of course, you may, I don't know exactly when you started Believe Brand Clothing Up, so you may have started that before that got saturated. So just kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, so we started June 2018, and the crazy thing about it is we actually didn't use social media as our main market.
Really?
We use Google and SEO of Christian apparel or Jesus apparel, things like that, because let's just go through a customer journey really quick, and I promise I won't get too nerdy for the people that don't care about business, but if you were going to go look for a new pair of white gym shoes, tell me the first website you would go to.
Oh, white gym shoes. Gosh, it's been a while since I bought white gym shoes. I'd probably, Google.
Okay.
White gym shoes.
You said it right. You said it correctly.
Right.
Somebody might say www.gymshark.com, but if
Right.
you don't know that Gymshark exists, you're not going to just plug in hard code the URL. And even if you do know it exists, you're still going to Google first probably and typing in Gymshark white shoes.
Right, right.
So then you get put in this search query of all kinds of different white shoes. And so for us, we had to think about that. Okay, we can put all this energy in trying to grow Believe brand on social media, but it's going to be so hard for customer discovery. And if we're running ads on that, they have to have already been interested in Believe, a shirt that says Believe or something like that. And so we wanted to take the customer funnel in a completely different space. We just now recently started leaning into social media more, but less because it's where sales come from and more because it was a resume or portfolio of all the great work that we've done. And so when I first started wearing Believe brand stuff, I didn't just start a clothing brand because I thought it was cool to start a clothing brand. I was making custom pieces for myself that we could wear at these shows.
Oh, cool.
I believe our bodies are billboards, so why am I over here promoting these brands that really have no interest in me and what I believe in when I can create my own stuff?
Exactly.
So our Believe brand logo started off as Iman Tucker. But then what really happened is
cool.
as we started seeing what our products were doing for people and as they started inquiring, I had to take myself out of it because although Iman does translate to the word believe, our brand is Believe brand. What I found is...
So that's what your first name means?
Yeah, that's what my first name means,
Believe.
or faith in God.
Oh, cool.
And so when I took myself out of it and I started thinking about this as like a business and a way to grow a brand as opposed to a way to promote myself, the cross then transformed into a space between where I am, you are, I. The I represents I, us as individuals, and the space between where we want to be at in the cross. So closing the gap between where we are and where God wants us to be at the cross, like Jesus. And so when we started telling that story and really communicating that with people, they felt like that was something that they could attach to and associate with. And so I think in deep down in our hearts, whether we want to say it or not, I think everybody could use a little bit more belief in their own life. Whether it's believing in God deeper, believing in yourself deeper, or even believing in the gifts that God has given you. And so we started creating a brand that really spoke to a problem that people had. And the response was crazy, and it really took off during COVID. And one of the NBA players bought our Love Everybody shirt. This was before Urban Outfitters stole it from us.
Oh, no.
But, because you can't patent stuff like that. It's too obvious.
Right.
But that's when we really started to find out, like, wow, our product serves people, and this actually speaks to people. So I didn't want to do clothing at all.
Really?
It is a headache. Retail is a headache. But when we recognize that people are really getting behind this and they're looking to this for inspiration and what it's allowed me even to do as a creative, I knew that I had to get over my hatred of retail and actually lean into this because God gave us this creative eye for a reason.
So how big is the clothing brand now? Like from if you're willing to share a revenue standpoint, like how large of a brand has it become?
So we're in our best months, we'll do about 10 to 20.
Wow. Okay.
And we are a six-figure clothing brand. However, where it comes tough in retail is margins, right? So it's easy to say like, yeah, I've moved six figures worth of product, but at the same time, we've been really trying to figure out how can we increase our margins. So in the past, we used to just create commodity t-shirts selling about $20, $25. However, now we recognize that because we've learned how to source stuff in the right areas, like the specialist overseas, we want to create premium faith-based apparel so that number one, our products last longer, but also number two, we can give designer level quality at prices that are affordable for almost anybody.
Yeah.
And so then when we started looking at our business model like that, we had to move less products because we made more inventory.
Okay.
So then we could be more strategic about the curation of what we're creating and how it fits the body and how it wears and how it lasts and things of that nature.
Yeah. So do you go into the aspect of designing the clothing itself, not just the brand, right, that goes on the clothing, but did you get into designing the actual clothing and what it looks like, how it fits, all that kind of stuff as well?
Yeah, and if I'm being completely honest, I think there's creation, so creating something from zero, and then there's curation, so seeing what other people have created and innovating off of that.
Okay.
And I'm more of a curator. Even as a DJ, I'm more of a curator. So this is actually my strategy that I do. I'll walk through a place like Nordstrom. I'll walk through a place like Saks Fifth. I'll find one of the nicest pieces of clothing in there that I think speaks to our brand.
Yeah.
And I'll actually purchase that item. And yes, it might be a $400, $500, $600 purchase.
Wow.
However, when you walk away, you hold that material, you see how it wears, and you send it out to your manufacturer, and you say, this is the style and the quality I'm going for. How can we replicate this at a price that's more competitive for the average market? That's now all of a sudden when that investment begins to make sense, because then we can mass produce a product that's similar in quality, but then still speaks to our brand and is accessible.
That's cool. So then you design all the logos and whatnot as well?
For the most part, yeah. We like allowing other people to contribute to those designs as well, because I think I can kind of get repetitive. But I think as a business owner, you also understand that everybody has their core products that sell and make a majority of your profit. And so if you can identify those earlier, continue to lean into those designs, which most of those were ones that I came up with. However, when it comes to like special drops and special releases that are limited quantity or limited time only, we really want to try to continue to grow that platform by allowing other creatives to have an input or say or ownership in that as well.
Yeah, there's brands that I've noticed that, like 10,000, for example, they're an athletic brand. They do, it's all just staple stuff, right? It's black, green, gray, basic colors. Same, they have like 3 different styles. That's pretty much it. And then you have companies like your guys, and there's some other ones out there as well that do those limited edition drops. What do you find works better in clothing? Because do your staples sell a lot, or is what sells the most the more innovative stuff, the special edition, limited release drops?
Well, if we're shooting to sell our stuff to the average person, we got to think, what is the average person comfortable wearing? It's typically staples. And if they can't afford to have a expensive pair of orange pants, well, what can we create instead that they can wear more often and it doesn't stand out so much? Probably a staple. And so I think that even if you look at cars, like you think the brand Maserati, how many very expensive Maseratis do you see driving around?
Not very many.
Not very many, but they make them, right? Or how many very expensive M3 competition BMWs do you see? Not a ton, but you do see a ton of those entry-level products. Well, those entry-level cars that are more affordable for the average person, that's how most retail brands grow and scale, because we have our essential pieces as well. And then we use the other pieces almost as like marketing leverage to get to some of those higher designers or those professional athletes that have the ability to afford something like that. And then we also offer the other product for the other people in the funnel as well.
Man, that's cool. So do you enjoy the design process of all that, or is it more of a headache to you than you really enjoy?
If I'm being completely honest, I treat Believe Brand almost like an artist and not like a business owner sometimes. I think that really hinders our growth, because I like to just let ideas come to me as I'm thinking, as I'm living, as I'm praying, as I'm working, and not really try to force it, and not try to always crank out new stuff and new designs and always have essentials available. But if we really want to scale and grow it to the next level, which is actually what we're strategizing on right now, I'm going to have to be a little bit more active with designs and things of that nature.
Yeah. I think that's one of the guys that I've followed for a long time that's actually given me a lot of inspiration in the way I've set my life up, right, is a guy named Rob Bailey. He owns a company called Flag North Hill out in Montana. And I think what's so cool is he's essentially created a lifestyle brand. You look at all of his stuff and it's like, it's gym clothes. It's, he's got, and he has his certain style. So he's created these incredibly durable joggers but they can be worn like when he's working, chopping wood, and stuff, like they can be worn outdoors, and they hold up. And then it's stuff to like flannels to now the leather gloves they've made, because he has a ranch and lives on a ranch and works on a ranch and stuff like that. And I love brands like that it kind of shows that the creator's lifestyle through what they develop. right? And that's kind of what Believe Brand is, right?
Absolutely. It's a mix between that corporate lifestyle that we were talking about in the past, but then also that streetwear entertainer lifestyle. And so we try to make our products to say that even if you have no style and you put on one of our pieces, it makes your style slightly better.
Oh, there you go.
And I never saw myself as like a fashion designer or somebody that picks out great outfits, but after all of our shows, we always saw when we post media people talking about our outfits.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's tough. I think it's really tough sometimes, especially when you're busy and you're working and you're in a corporate space all the time, to know what's fresh and to know what's fly. It's like, well, hey, don't worry. You just stay plugged into this funnel and we're going to put the stuff out that's relevant but still also has that mature corporate feel and vibe to it as well, if you need it to.
Exactly. It's been interesting to see how corporate styles have changed so much over the last 5 years even, too.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool thing to watch if you're into that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.